Within the sci-fi genre, there can be two elements in particular that are often utilized and seen as key themes of the genre, which are world building in order to establish the kind of world that technology exists within the genre, as well as the idea of technology gone wrong, as well as the dystopian theme that surrounds this. And there are three films in particular within this video essay that I'm going to explore which do so. And these films are Alien and Blade Runner, directed by Ridley Scott, as well as Vincenzo Natali's Cube from 1997. To begin with, I'll explore how Blade Runner utilises world building to explore its dystopian setting and fears around technology. This can be seen within the opening titles of the film, which, excusing Scott's auto trait of world building through opening intertitles, establishes the film's setting of Los Angeles in the then future of November 2019, and the outlawing of replicants is reflective of the trope of technology going wrong due to their off-world mutiny discussed in the opening, that is suggested to have caused deaths, supporting the sci-fi genre. Additionally, the indistinction between human and machine is allegorical of the fears of the unknown, as we revisit here the troubling ambiguities involved in distinguishing heathens from Christians and communists from free enterprise Democrats. This is reflective of the genre's focus around technological fears due to its ability to turn on humans and the potential dystopia that this leads to due to the lack of distinction between human and machine. Seen within Scott's smog-choked Los Angeles, also reflecting his time as a production designer. This production design is also representative of globalization, of course, as the film's style draws images from urban spaces, including such Asian cities as Tokyo and Hong Kong, which shows Scott's influence. Similarly, Alien, which is also directed by Ridley Scott, creates a dystopia through the idea of fears around technology and corporate greed. And an example of this is through the reveal of Ash being an android who, after his fight with the other Nostromo crew members, reveals that the company considers the xenomorph valuable and the entire crew will be expendable. And this idea of life being cheap is one that's a trope of the dystopian genre, with its only use being to benefit those who be better off from these tasks, supported by the idea of a depressing and realistic depiction of our low, or in this case, lack of expectations of law and justice for corporations, given the idea that corporations are somehow above the law. And as well as this, the usage of Ash as a corporate puppet is reflective of the control of corporations within the film, as his false humanity could be seen as allegory for corporations presenting themselves as acting for the benefit of the workers and consumers, when in reality they only work to benefit themselves. And additionally, Ash's assimilation within the crew can also be seen as another example of technological fears, as, like aliens, corporations have invaded the world to the extent that the humans are now incorporated, meaning that Wayland Yutani see the crew as part of the company rather than as individuals. And just to add on to this, the social commentary of Alien can be seen through its focus on sexuality, as the design of the alien's body rather obviously involves sexualized visual metaphorical mappings, which most famously the tooth-bearing tongue phallus represents, which extrudes from the alien's mouth. And this representation of the xenomorph as sexual can be seen as a representation of the second wave feminism emerging at the time, as well as Scott's representation of female characters, allowing the film to be seen an example of social commentary through the negative antagonistic representation of the xenomorph, reflecting the push at the time for gender equality. Finally, to round off this video essay, I will discuss the film Cube, directed by Vincenzo Natali, and how it is an example of the sci-fi genre, and commenting on reality and its struggles. And to begin with, as put by EBSCO-host, the cubes depict the endless repetitions of a life without meaning, and the horror of knowing no one, no God, no higher being may be at the helm. And in this instance, rather than a specific fear of technology itself, the genre focuses instead on a social commentary focused around the potential monotony of life and the argument that it may be meaningless, of course, seen in nihilism. The sci-fi genre is also supportive of its commentary theme, as in social commentary, as the blurring of lines is what makes something human from Blade Runner can show. And alongside this, Cube also serves as an example of how the future could be perceived, due to its aesthetic serving as similar to the notions of progress and future, similar to Blade Runner's aesthetic and Aliens, of course, again, both directed by Ridley Scott, which were both reflective of the envisioned future of the time, with Blade Runner, of course, being 2019 and Alien being in the year 2122, allowing Cube to find its place within the sci-fi genre. And in conclusion, the sci-fi genre can be seen as an effective tool within film for world building and presenting fears around technology as well as a social commentary of its time.